Hey, y'all, this is Anna Stockdale, and you are listening to the Garrett Smith Podcast.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, today we have with us Anna Stockdale. Anna, how you doing today?
I'm doing super. Garrett, how are you?
Doing pretty well. We were just talking a little bit off air, y'all, about quarantine brain, and it is a real thing, y'all. I mean, it's the fact that I even remembered there was an interview today, and the fact that I even remember where I am. We're doing all right so far.
Yeah, no, I totally understand what you're saying. Today, I gave someone the wrong number maybe 3 or 4 times in a row before I realized that I was looking at it wrong. Yeah, it's pretty embarrassing. But
now,
this is where...
Is that out of habit? Like, people asking for your number, and you'd be like, I'm just going to give them the Elaine from Seinfeld and just give them a business card.
No, unfortunately, I'm not that clever. No, it's just clerical error on my part, I guess. I don't know.
Well, this is one of those questions I like to ask everybody, even though with you, I kind of already know part of the answer. And that's just kind of, how's quarantine been treating you? What have you been staying busy with? And for you, part of the answer I know is live streams, because I think I've seen like 3 or 4 of yours already. And I think the first one I watched was with Reed Barton a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
So shout out Reed Barton. That's somebody I need to get on here. But what all have you been up to lately?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, Reed's great. We had a lot of fun swapping songs. But yes, so I've been doing a lot of live streaming. I've done a couple of takeovers with Made in Texas Radio and Real Texas Radio and people like that. So it's just a lot of fun. So it's just been a good opportunity to kind of reach different audiences and kind of build new relationships with people that I haven't met yet. You know what I mean? Just through all the opportunities that people are opening up for musicians right now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, in spite of, not being able to have any live shows.
Well, that's actually kind of how this podcast started. Somebody told me I should do one while we were on a live stream because it was a song swap with several artists. And the way we ended up doing that was, we'd tell the story behind the song and that kind of thing, like as many of them go. And it felt almost like I was interviewing people. And that was when somebody was like, dude, you need to start a podcast. And I was like, I don't like listening to myself talk. It's all I can do just to hear myself sing. And then I thought about it. I thought, I'm going to either get bored of playing live streams to a phone or it's going to get old really quickly because I don't like playing in just to 1 or 2 people. It's just a little too weird. I could play in front of a huge crowd if I wanted, but it's a little too intimate to play one-on-one. So if I'm just staring at a phone, it's a little strange almost for me. So I thought, even though I'll probably do a couple more of those, a podcast might be better. And I like it more because I'm giving people a chance to just kind of like talk about their songs. And I don't know, it's a little more structured, so it's been kind of cool to do.
No, that's really cool. And I agree with that. I think that's been a big hurdle for me as well, is live streaming that's why I like doing the song swaps, because then you have a little quicker interaction, because people can comment, on your live streams, but, there's always that delay. And so it is kind of hard just, basically singing by yourself.
Well, have you fallen into the trap yet of getting like a Facebook notification and just clicking on it like it's a normal notification, but it takes you to somebody's live video? And it's like, well, I can't just leave now. I'm here.
No, I have been trying to hit up other people's live streams, but I have not fallen into that trap. Thankfully, some of the streams I've been doing, people have been pretty interactive, so that helps a lot. Yeah. But I have had a couple that they're just crickets.
The worst is when you go live and there's like that 30 seconds or so of just like waiting on people to get on. And then Instagram tells you like, we're telling your followers. It's like, oh gosh, what do I do?
I know. I end up doing really stupid stuff for that first 30 seconds. So then when I go back and share it, people are like, what is happening right now? Why is she live streaming?
Well,
I don't know.
I always think, I bet if I start telling wildly inappropriate jokes just to the zero audience, that'll be when like my mom or somebody logs on. It never fails. That'll happen. So there's
for sure
little ways to jinx the audience into it. But yeah, you've had a busy year. I mean, even before quarantine started and all this kind of stuff with 2020, I mean, you put out a lot of stuff in 2019. So I asked kind of how the last couple of months have been for everybody. But what's the past year been like for you?
Well, last year was really a lot of fun. It was back in the end of January of 2019 that I went into studio with Chad Malden, Malden Productions in Gladewater, Texas. And we started putting together my first full production EP, which was super fun. And the process took longer than I had anticipated, but it was a really, really good, solid process, I felt like. And then in October, or I guess August, we released the first single, which is Heartless, off of that EP. And then I really, honestly, I did it wrong. I should have released 5 singles and then the EP. And I had a friend tell me to do that, but I completely misunderstood what she was saying and released the last, like the EP, 6 weeks later in October, the whole thing. And I was like, awesome. So glad that I totally played that wrong. But, the songs are out there. And so that was really cool. Just a really neat experience, even though I totally did it wrong.
I feel like in music, everyone will tell you the quote, right way to do something, and there may be merit to it, but in the music business at the end of the day, I feel like I look back on more things where I'm kind of like, there is no right way to do that. We've jumped into an economically horrible business and want to do things the right way.
Oh my gosh, that's very true. Yeah. Well, I just mean like in the regard of like getting songs picked up for playlists, particularly with Spotify.
Yeah.
Because that beast is just a hard one to conquer. And I kind of shot myself in the foot a little bit with that one. But otherwise, I think I did the best that I could with, the knowledge I had on hand. But they say, you've got to release your first EP, your first record, whatever. And you just have to kind of get that out and then keep rolling with it. You know what I mean?
Well, everything you put out there sounded really good. So, I mean, it's there's no quality question as far as that goes. I mean, I've listened to it a few times. I'm like, this is pretty good stuff.
Hey, thank you. Yeah, no, Chad did a great job when we brought in some really awesome musicians, which was super fun. So those guys really did wonders for my songs. Not that they were bad before. That made it sound like, yeah, my songs are trash, and then I got these guys, but like they just, put put everything together, brought them to life.
I can totally relate to that because the project I've had going, it's a little bit on pause right now, but the thing I've been working on is, and I've told a couple of previous guests, I'm going into the studio to just redo all the vocals on my old music. Because I really didn't know as much about what I was doing at the time. Just threw a 12-song album out there to the world. Didn't have any radio promotion or anything. I was like, all right, everybody love me. I worked on this. And then it's like, no, dude, you need to practice a little more first. So I'm going back in the studio to redo all the vocals, but I'm keeping the instrumental tracks. And like trying to talk about that to people without it sounding like I'm dishing on previous people that worked on it. I'm like, no. I'm not dissing their quality of work. I'm just saying I needed to step up my game.
Oh man, I totally understand. There's things, even still looking back, I'm like, man, I wish I had, done something a little bit different there on my end. And it was nothing. The musicians were just phenomenally talented.
Well, that's awesome. So if we could pick one of those to kick this thing off with, which song would we start with?
One of the songs off the EP?
Yeah.
Let's see. I want to play Black and White, I think.
Awesome. Well, I will play that right here. This is called Black and White.
with a great view. It's something I don't understand, but I will try to comprehend why it all reminds me so damn much of you. It's a damn shame that I couldn't find the words to say. I know that I'm alone and I'm the only one to blame. Things used to be so simple, we could tell the wrong from right. When it comes to you, I can't find where the black meets the white. It's a damn shame that no one will ever know your name. There's no one to hear your stories, but who is there to blame? Things used to be so simple, we could tell the wrong from right. Go right through shades of gray. Never find where the black meets the white.
Tell me the story behind that song.
So I wrote that song in the mountains of Wyoming. I had an internship at Texas A&M, and I was working on this dude ranch, the CM Ranch up in DuBois, Wyoming. And I spent a lot of time songwriting. I think that's really where it kind of took off for me, or not took off, but like where it sparked for me and connected. And I was actually riding this paint horse by myself, and this is black and white paint, and was just kind of thinking about the contrast between, I know this is like really artsy, but anyway, I was thinking about that, and then I was thinking about a conversation that I had with one of the locals in the local bar that they had there, and he was telling me kind of about his upbringing and how rough it was, and he's like, but I'm not going to tell you anymore because, you know, if I told you, you wouldn't even really want to know.
Yeah.
And so I was like, huh. And that's where it started from there, and then just kind of evolved through my story of that summer. And that's how that all came together. It was really that conversation from that guy I was talking with in the local bar.
That's really cool. The whole time you were telling that, I was picturing like a episode of Longmire, because they always go to like the same bar and the same scenery. I'm like, I was just kind of like picturing this whole thing taking place on that.
Yeah.
So kind of take me through your story as a musician as a whole, you know, like where did you get started and who were your influences and things like that?
Okay. I grew up listening to a lot of older music. I wrote down for, a couple of my earlier influences were like James Taylor, because I love his songwriting. He's just incredible and great musician. And then, country music. My mom listened to George Strait a lot, and I know this is going to make me sound like a bad Texan, but I got so sick to death of George Strait.
You can get burned out on anything.
Oh my gosh, his 50 greatest hits. I was like, I can't even anymore. But so I kind of took a little break from country music, and Pat Green was really what brought me back into country music, particularly, Texas country. And I started playing guitar when I was 8. I still play the same guitar that I have, that I found. And I've been playing it ever since.
Yeah, I love how Pat was the one that brought you back in. It's kind of funny. So he's actually a distant relative of mine. I've only gotten to meet him, hang out with him one time. But so my dad, he listens to a lot of more classic country, and so he hasn't really gotten into many of the modern artists on the red dirt scene. But I remember in junior high or high school, I'm in the kitchen at home. My dad walks in. He's holding like a Texas Monthly or something. And he's kind of got this puzzled look on his face. He goes, "Do you know who a Pat Green is?" I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "Well, apparently we're related," and just like walks out of the room. I'm like, "Wait, what?"
You cannot just say that.
You can't just
away.
drop that on me.
Yeah.
So you went to A&M. Were you already playing music during that time, or was it kind of before you started really songwriting?
Man, I was really just kind of dabbling in it, like played just by myself, hanging out, just messing around. And wasn't until like my senior year at A&M that I really started playing a lot.
I'm probably going to age myself with this question, but was the Hall of Fame still there?
It was there my freshman year.
Oh, okay. Okay, I didn't age either of us too much.
No.
Yeah, did you get to go to any concerts there?
I'm trying to remember if I did. We went there usually on Thursday nights, religiously. I had one of my best friends was an architecture major, and so she worked all the time. And I was the notorious bad influence. So it was like, you don't need to work at Thursday night. We're going dancing. It'll be fine.
Yep.
So that was kind of our stomping grounds until they tore it down. But I think we went and saw actually JB and the Moonshine Band there.
Oh, cool.
If I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually where, so my wife and I saw Kyle Park there when we were dating. That was like the first time I ever saw Kyle Park. It was like right before he blew up too. So it was really cool. But Harry's is a good venue too. Like I've gotten to see quite a ton of concerts there. But now that's kind of like the pinnacle place, because the way people talked about the Hall about the time they tore it down, I don't know what the age difference is, but I know that the Hall had been around probably close to 30 years, and Harry's is kind of knocking on that door. I mean, it won't be much longer before they've been there as long as the Hall was. Yeah, they've been
there for a long time. It's kind of crazy to think about. I went back in to see William Clark Green back in November, I think.
Oh, cool.
And I went by myself because I had a gig. And then the gig was over, and I don't know anybody in College Station anymore. And the people that I do know have kids and had to be in bed, and it was like 11 o'clock, and I said, I'm freaking going. And it was so weird to be in there and be so old. And I was like,
I hate doing that. Like, my wife's a nurse, and she works night shifts. So if I have to go to a concert, there's times when it's like, I got to go be creepy and sit at a table by myself.
I know. I've done that a couple of times. And there was one night I was at Bonita here in Nacogdoches, and who did I go see? I watched Shane Smith. That's who it was. And I was sitting there at a table by myself, just happy as could be. And I had 3 different people come up to me and ask me if I was okay.
Oh, no.
And I was like, I'm fine. I am focused on what's happening up here. Like, you just look really mean or really sad. I was like, I'm neither of these things.
I've gotten that. I got an embarrassing one about a year or two ago in Houston. I was watching Cody Wayne play at Little Woodrow's right in the middle of downtown Houston. And this woman walks up and she kind of leans in with that, "Are you okay?" look. She's like, "Do you want to dance? Like, are you good?" I was like, I am good. I'm just watching the show. My wife's working tonight. Normally she'd be here. And I think she was like super embarrassed for asking me. I'm like, no. It's all good. It's all good. Like, I'm just the weirdo that watches concerts by myself.
I know what you mean.
Struggle is real.
It is.
Before I ask an East Texas question, I have to ask, when you were at A&M, what was your favorite and least favorite Aggie tradition?
Okay. I thought about this a lot today, and I think my favorite is muster, because I just think that is phenomenally, I don't know, I just think it's a great tradition, and I love it. And least favorite, I really can't think of one that I don't like, but yeah, I thought about this a lot. I guess the closest thing would be not being able to walk on the grass at the MSC, but I think that makes me a bad ag. So I think
my dad found that out the hard way when he was a freshman there. He said a cadet, for more or less, removed him from the grass.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Things I should warn you about.
Yeah. Well, maybe if he'd have gone to fish camp, he'd have known. But
did you have? I didn't go to fish camp.
I did. So I went to grad school there. I didn't actually get to go for my undergrad because my degree plan wasn't there. But my parents are Aggie, so I was raised with it. By the time I even went there, I was probably more brainwashed than any other grad student. But I did lead a grad camp. So they kicked off grad camp, which is basically just fish camp for grad students, right about the time I got there. And so they've got that going for grad students now. And they've done a really good job of just kind of indoctrinating everyone from around the world at grad school into our wonderful cult. So it's It was a lot of fun.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I've wanted to go to A&M since I was like 5, so maybe cultish, I don't know.
Well, as somebody who works in higher ed, I always tell my supervisors, if they ever call A&M, or anybody that calls A&M a cult, I say, yeah, but the cult doesn't have to bribe you with t-shirts and food to come to your school's events, so I think they're doing something right.
Yeah.
Well, you're in Nacogdoches now, you said?
I am. My husband's from here, and that's where we are now.
Awesome. I was going to ask how you ended up out there, because I guess East Texas and College Station are not too much of a stretch, but a lot of people go to College Station from East Texas. So I was kind of wondering what the destination was.
Yes. I met my husband at A&M, and he's from here, and we moved back to Nacogdoches about, my gosh, I think it's been 5 years.
Nice.
Yeah. This summer will be 5 years. That's crazy.
It's funny how that sneaks up on you.
Yeah, it does.
Especially during quarantine when you don't even know what day it is. You don't even remember, work anniversaries and moving anniversaries. Because I think we moved to Temple a year ago, I think 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, something like that. And it slipped right past me.
Yeah.
So what were some of the first gigs you started playing?
So after I got back from the ranch is when I really started. I had a professor at A&M who... he helped, he's like a part owner, helped run the Grand Stafford Theater in Bryan.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so that's the first stage I played on. And
that's
the
bigger significant first stage.
Yeah, it was really cool. That was not like, I was not deserving of that in the slightest. It was a struggle for me to have 30 minutes of material. He was like, can you play for 30 minutes? And I just kind of was like, I'll figure it out, I guess. And,
I do now.
Yeah, now here we have 3+ hours. That's like not a problem. But I opened for Katie Hamlin, which was really cool. And we were good friends now to this day. Yeah. And then one crazy night, I was actually just like walking through Target, got a call from the booking guy. I guess they had an opener cancel, and he was like, do you want to open for Bob Schneider? And I was like, yeah, I do. So that was really cool. It was a sold out show at the Stafford, and I just happened to just fall into that one. So that was really fun.
We may have actually been there at the same time. When did you leave College Station?
2015.
Okay, that's when we left. So who knew it? We were there at the same time.
That's wild.
Yeah. Oh gosh, we were probably at the same shows. Didn't even know it. But yeah, because I was just thinking my first show. Well, actually, first I did the open mic to kind of like get used to it over at a chicken oil company. So that with Rob White, he and I played a show together, and Adam Drake kind of lined that up for us. And then as far as College Station gigs, though, I haven't really gotten to go back and play because I was just in the writing stage at that point. I wasn't really performing when we were still there, but there's a lot of cool venues I'd love to get over there and play.
Oh, absolutely. Have you heard about Southerns or been out there to see it?
No. So I wanted to go to that opening when Kevin Fowler was playing. And, I'd even told Bobby, I was like, hey, I think I'm going to come out and see it. And he's like, cool, come on over. And even though it was like on a Thursday night, it'd have been like 2 hours for me to get there. I was like, yeah, I'll still do it. But then couldn't make that, and then now we're not really able to go for a while, so to be continued. He's done a really great job. It's a super cool place. Shout out Bobby.
Shout out Bobby.
Next song I'm going to play on here, it's actually, because we were talking about College Station, A&M and all that. When I first heard this, I seriously was like, oh, did she do a cover of the Aggie War Hymn? So I clicked on it, and it was not. But it's a really cool song called The War Hymn. Tell me about that.
Okay, but first of all, did you panic a little bit when you're like, she covered the War Hymn?
No.
And then like, God, that's not what this is?
No, I was kind of like, if that's what this is, that'd be really cool, because I've actually never heard anyone do that. It's just like it would take a lot of, it'd be kind of a bold move to try it, but I was like, this will be interesting.
I'm not that bold.
I don't really know how that would translate into a country song, but fun fact, I actually have an original that I've worked on called Northgate Nights, and there's a little bridge or an instrumental break into that song I've written that sounds a lot like the War Hymn without me getting sued for copyright infringement. So hopefully I'll be putting that out next year. That
would be awesome. I'm very excited about this.
I'll let you hear a sneak peek of it.
Yeah, please do. That'd be sweet.
Cool. So yeah, tell me how this one came about.
Okay. It's the same thing. This is an older song up in Wyoming. Wrote it just riding through the mountains, thinking cowboys and Indians type stories, and then thinking about my story because I chose Wyoming out of the blue. I'd never been, didn't know anybody. and was just like, I'm freaking doing it. I'm going. And I got up there, and it ended up being the best summer of my life. And it was tons of fun. And I learned a lot, played a lot of great experience. And so it's just kind of the story from like Cowboys and Indians perspective, kind of going through that battle for the land. And then at the end, it's, my story about coming here to start over as well. And I chose the War Hymn title because I'm an Aggie. And I was like, I'm going to leave that just like that. And just because it is kind of a war story between two totally different cultures. And actually, when I went into studio with it, my producer really liked the song a lot. But he was like, this name, though, because there's no The War Hymn anywhere in that song. And he's like, I don't know about the name. I was like, oh, no, we're keeping the name. that has to stay. And he's like, okay, you can have that one.
That's awesome. So I'm going to play that one here. This is called The War Hymn.
Red blanket just blowing in the wind, painted pony on a hill. For tonight I watch them as the storm comes rolling in. Thunder, lightning are striking, flames devour the prairie. Seems like tonight the whole world's in a fight. Well, they came here for refuge. This land is unyielding, and they can't turn back. Full lives in a bag. They came here to start over again. Others came from 100 generations of men. We'll see who's standing as the smoke clears. Will they hold their ground? Or will this land drive them out of here? War drums in the deep, new members of thread, and their talk ain't cheap. This land they aim to keep. The tomahawk in his hand, and strikes up the band. Tonight's a different sound. The world's crashing down. They came here to start over again. Now they're fighting against 100 generations of men. Don't think they'll be standing as smoke clears. This land's loyal to men trying to drive them out of here.
of all your songs, which ones would you say have the best backstories?
Have the best backstories.
I should be careful with that question. I'm going to get an artist on here eventually, and they're just going to say, well, it's track number 1, and it's going to be like a 15-track album.
No. I read that as which ones have backstories. And I was like, a backstory, but it definitely says best. I think one of my favorites is one of, I guess, the proudest I am off that record is Dead Man's Toll. And I like that story because it's loosely based on a true story about a guy who was down in LaGrange on the Colorado River, and there was a cemetery down there, and someone had told him that the people buried there had been buried with gold or silver coins over their eyes because of, old folklore that said if you bury someone, put coins over their eyes because that will be the payment to carry them from this life to the afterlife.
Wow.
Right. So he heard that story and he went and tried digging up graves. And anyway, my brother-in-law actually heard this story firsthand and called me and was like, hey, you need to write a song about this. And it was one of the quickest songs to ever come to me. I was like, hell yes. Thank you for calling me. God bless you, sir. I was so excited about it. And so that's been one that I've been really proud of. And actually the guy is still around. I don't think I know his name, but he has heard the song and really likes it. So that's kind of a cool thing. Cool. Yeah. So he's got a couple of CDs and has heard the song and he likes it. So that's good news.
Have you heard the song Boot Hill by Genevieve Allen? It's kind of like, so it's this like Western song based on a real like an actual story that happened out West about, it's like a cheating story and somebody gets shot over it, all this kind of stuff. Like it's like Florida Man meets Tombstone. And I was as you were telling me about the people being buried and somebody wanting to go find, I thought, man, if you mix those two, that'd be one killer music video. Well, if you had to be recognized by one song, like if you were to have one song just magically go nationwide and that was the one that just got you everywhere, what song would you want to be known for?
Oh man. That's a really hard question. I thought I had an answer for that, but I don't know. It's, you kind of want to think maybe a catchy song or something like that. But I really like the way that that Dead Man's Toll panned out because it is kind of a rockier song and it's not, I'm not great at writing love songs at all. Shoot, Garrett.
Actually, I think that'd be a really good segment.
What segment? Anna puts her foot in her mouth. Part 1.
Well, that's okay. I get like several of those moments per episode. There's a lot of editing that I have to do.
I'm sorry. I was trying to make this painless for you, but here we are.
What fun would that be? Well, I will actually play that song right here. So here it is.
Tell me that the devil's after my soul, 'cause the jingle in my pocket is the dead man's toll. Say my daddy ran off and mama got sick, so it's up to me to pay the rent. And there ain't much work here in the Grange when you spend your nights digging up graves. Well, these men paid the ferry to the other side, and I'm just trying my
favorite venues or towns to perform? I know, we mentioned venues around College Station when you started, but, now you're in East Texas and you've played in various places. What are some of your favorites to perform?
Let's see. There is a new place up in Irving, Mama Tried.
Oh, yeah.
There are two locations. Yeah, there's one in Deep Ellum and one in Irving. And I have loved playing at Mama Tried. That's a ton of fun. And then, of course, Bonita here in town. Kevin White is fantastic and has been really gracious to let me play there a few times. And that's always fun, just to be, home. And then also, I've really liked playing just down on the coast. So, like in the Galveston area and the Corpus Christi area. That is a ton of fun.
The last show I got to do was at Port Aransas, and so I mean the whole Corpus area, they turn out for music. It's a really great place.
It's so cool. People are great down there, and I love the beach vibes.
Oh yeah,
it's just laid back, and I'm never sure. This is such a stupid thing to say, but I'm never sure like what kind of shoes to wear because I'm boots and jeans like for shows almost religiously. But it's so hot and sticky.
Oh, I know.
I'm like, okay, so, I mean, I'm not Jimmy Buffett, but can I wear flip-flops right now? Is that a thing that I can do? I don't know. So, I do love being down there and playing on the beach is a lot of fun.
I struggled with that because I'm boring. I wear the same thing every show I play just because I'm like, well, after a while, it's recognizable, whatever.
Yeah.
And it's not even really a gimmick. It's just kind of like, okay, if I keep it repetitive, people will know it's me. And I did that for a while. And then it's an all black outfit. And I didn't think much of it until I was filming a music video called Port Aransas in the middle of summer. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is going to be awful. And so I was wearing like regular jeans and a black t-shirt and all that. But even then I was burning up, like just any kind of jeans on the beach. And then, of course, we had the actual show that night we were filming at, and that was full black attire. I was like, I am going to lose so much weight just sweating up here.
Oh, my gosh, I know.
So what can we expect from you next? Because, 2019, busy year. You put some really cool songs out there. What's kind of the upcoming stuff you're working on?
Thanks. Well, I was actually about to jump back into studio and release a single, but I've kind of put that on hold for just a little while. So hopefully this year, I don't want to make any promises or anything, but hopefully I'll be releasing a new single soon. And then I anticipate, hopefully booking a lot of shows for the end of the year whenever things open back up, which I think is supposed to be a couple of weeks when we'll at least know when we can do more stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping to cover a lot of ground in Texas.
I feel like if anyone asks about that, you can just tell them, here's what it's like to be planning projects as a musician. If you know the game Risk, where everyone just takes over the board, everything is a takeover right now. Facebook pages and Instagram pages, like any radio station, they're having a takeover.
Yeah, it's just coup d'etats everywhere.
And then they're going to open the floodgates here in a month or two, and everyone's it's like those war movies where it's just a big scramble to the middle of the battlefield. That's pretty much going to be it. Exactly.
It's like the Hunger Games for music. It's going to be a freaking mess. No, it'll be fine. I'm sure that everybody, I don't know. But I haven't even talked to any venues. I asked one, I said, hey, I have a pretty good relationship with them. And I said, I'd love to come back as soon as y'all can start booking. And I haven't talked to any other venues because I don't want to sound like that person and be like, hey, when are y'all booking? Like, idiot. Like,
I know your business is suffering, but can you pay me for a night?
Exactly. So, I know that that's the case, but it's like, well, where's the line between I'm still interested and sounding like a freaking moron?
Oh, I feel that.
So it's because I don't know what everybody else is doing and how everybody else is going about booking, because it's just kind of weird times.
Yeah. All the shows I had booked between now and, maybe August or so, they were all local. Like, they're at the local burrito bar. People get margaritas there. And part of me was kind of like going into, before this whole quarantine thing happened, I was like, man, I've got these full band shows, which is great. But then all I've got for maybe 2 months is nothing in April, and then 2 or 3 months worth of solo acoustic at the local burrito bar. I was like, I need to book something else. And I'm really glad I didn't, because I was just like, for now, I'm grateful. I'm grateful for that.
Oh yeah, I was hoping. I had a couple of shows coming up next week, but those are out too. So after that, I have nothing on the books, because when I would have started booking was in March, and then everything got shut down. So it's like, well, great, I have nothing in the pipeline. But I'm not. I mean, obviously, I know that everybody's in the same boat.
We can go do a sorry to bother you song swap sometime. We'll just we'll hit up one of these bars. Well, Garrett and Anna playing songs because they're afraid to ask. But so where can people find your music, follow your shows? Do you have the same social media handles? You know, what are the best places to follow you?
Absolutely. So I'm pretty easy to find. Just Anna Stockdale. You can type that in pretty much on any streaming platform or social media site, and you'll be able to find me. Places like, I do have annastockdale.com, and that will help point you into the right direction. Or, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I am on TikTok, and I'm not really sure what to do with that because I'm old. But I have it. And then, Spotify, Amazon, iTunes, Pandora, all of those places. Wherever CD Baby distributes, that's where I am.
Wherever it goes. So hit up Deezer, LimeWire, Napster, all the hot spots.
Oh my gosh.
I was talking to somebody the other day. I was like, we need to go see if like somewhere out there that's one of those is still like floating around and our music's on it. I had kind of a mishap putting my music on MySpace, because when I finally got around to checking it, because I was like, apparently musicians use this. I went back and I had like 400 just spammers following me. I was like, well, hope they enjoy the songs.
Gosh.
Yeah, so I would highly encourage everyone to follow Anna. Her music's awesome, and watch the song swaps that are happening on Instagram and things of that nature, because you're a really good performer. I've really enjoyed listening to your music, and looking forward to kind of seeing what you put out there soon, too, for sure.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
No problem. Well, I do have 3 big questions that I ask every guest, and the first one is, if you could collaborate with anyone out there, who would it be?
One person.
One person or band.
Okay. I'm going to say Robert Earl Keen.
I could see y'all playing that actually makes sense as you say it.
He's just, man, that guy can write a freaking song and tell a story, and he's just the coolest.
Just play the Aggie card. Say, hey man, help me out.
Yeah. We're basically blood kin.
We're basically so. Don't be a 2%er, Robert Earl. Don't be a 2%er.
Yeah.
If you could headline any venue, where would you go play?
Hands down, Green Hall.
Awesome. I have told several guests this, and I'm going to keep saying it until quarantine's lifted, because this is just me beating the war drum. I was going to get tickets to go see Cross Rags and Young, and don't get to now. That was going to be April 24th. Still salty.
Oh my gosh.
Still, they better reschedule that too, because you don't just give me half of Ragweed coming back and me not get to go see it.
Yeah, that is a tease. Are they going to reschedule it? Maybe.
I think I read somewhere some of their shows I think are, because they've got to. They popped up out of nowhere. I've never really seen a story as to what brought it out. I'd love to get them on the podcast and ask, but suddenly it's like, oh, Grady and Randy are playing together again, and they have a song that's like one of the top Texas music chart songs that week, and then boom, nothing. So it's like, what just happened?
What is going on right now?
Speaking of those what just happened moments, the big finale question I ask everybody is, what is the funniest or craziest story you can tell from your music career so far?
Gosh. I think I guess it's not really crazy. Well, I guess it is kind of crazy. One of my husband's cousins, he has always loved music and has always been connected to people in just kind of the craziest way. He'll just tell stories and be like, who are you? Like, how do you know these people? Well, one day he called and he said that his friend was putting on this mud fest. John Christopher Way was putting on the mud fest, and do you want to come play? Gary P. Nunn is the headliner.
Oh,
and
wow.
I was like, yeah.
Yes, I would love to.
And anyway, so I got to go and open up for John Christopher Way and for freaking Gary P. Nunn, and Bob Livingston was there. So it was really, really cool and crazy, because these guys have been playing forever and doing clearly great things. And then I was like, how did I get here? So that was really fun. And all those guys were just great and super cool, put on great shows. And it was really freaking fun to be part of that.
That's awesome. Where was that at, you said?
It was outside of Austin.
Oh, okay.
And I cannot remember where right now. That's going to drive me nuts.
There's a big mud festival, and it took me a minute to remember what it was called, but there's one way up north called Rednecks with Paychecks, and I thought that sounds like a show I really want to go play, but it's really more of like, it's like a big mudding contest and all this stuff. But then I went and looked at it on Instagram, and I'm like, dude, this is some like next level country getting drunk in the mud kind of stuff.
Next level redneckery.
Next level redneckery. That might be the title of my next album. So you heard it here first, folks.
You're welcome.
Next level redneckery.
Yeah, this place, same thing. They had a huge mud pit and all kinds of stuff. And it was hot as all get out and dusty and muddy and
Ugh.
Yeah, but the music was great. So
that's awesome.
Pretty cool.
Well, yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing some more stuff, and definitely feel free to come back to the podcast anytime when you're putting new music out, and we'll throw it out there. And I appreciate you coming on today.
That'd be fantastic. Thank you so much, Garrett. I appreciate you inviting me on and playing some of my music. This has been a ton of fun.
Yeah, for sure. I'm glad you were able to do this. And what song should we close everything out with?
You know what? I'm going to throw that one out to you. You
okay.
Can
awesome.
Make the call.
This is Not Like You.